Hello everyone, I'm Robert Hisee. Most of you will know me, but for you that don't, I'm the UK's #1 unconscious mind therapist. And welcome to the MindKite podcast. Hello everyone, I'm Robert Hisee, the UK's #1 unconscious mind therapist. I'm here today with Daniel O'Reilly, known as Dapper Laughs. And you've got to listen to the geezer introduce himself.
I'll go for it.
Go for it, Dan.
Well, if you don't know me, I'm a bit of a fridge freezer, lemon squeezer, Ebenezer, doozy pleaser, Mastercard Visa, had to sneezer, proper naughty cheesy peaser, lady pleaser. I'm going to try and get them all. Julius Caesar, golden retriever, lady pleaser, and proper naughty geezer.
Thanks, Dan. That's an intro and a half, ain't it? Well, we're here today to find out a little bit more about Daniel O'Reilly and behind the mindset of him and his story from where it all started, Dan. So, how did you get into the comedy game? How did you get into the Instagram scene and the Facebook and the
I always wanted to be a stand-up comedian. I was one of these kids that would watch TV and films and stuff, and I was like, straight away I wanted to be like on TV. I wanted to be an actor originally. You know, I wanted to be in EastEnders. I auditioned for EastEnders when I was really young. And Grange Hill and stuff like that. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to perform.
So the stage was always something.
I was big. I think because I come from an early divorce. Like my mum and dad broke up when I was really young, so I think I craved attention. You know, kids. I think when they come from broken homes, they.
So was you one of them kids that come and jump and dance around the front room and all that?
Yeah, naked and that. Do you know what I mean? And
nothing's changed there then.
Yeah, no, I just wasn't drunk back then. But just craved attention from a young age, and that personified itself into wanting to act. And then I saw Lee Evans for the first time on like an old DVD, and I watched him when I was around my mate's house when I was about 15, and I was like, that's what I want to do, stand-up comedy, man. And so I went to performing arts, done performing arts and that, and went and chased the dream, mate. Yeah.
Quality. So how did you start creating your first sort of like, how did you start creating comedy? How did you learn the process? Like,
I originally learned how to tell jokes by working in like holiday parks, holiday camps, and then cruise ships. So I worked in cruise ships for years, traveling. I've done a few round the world cruises and
doing comedy, yeah?
Yeah, well, originally it's like a game show host, so you're just like a host. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, like doing bingo, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and all that. So I learnt like stagecraft and audience interaction and how to time yourself. But then comedians would fly on and I'd listen to the way that they set up their jokes and started becoming passionate about writing comedy. So learning the different forms of comedy, there's ways of telling jokes where you like say three things, two things are normal and the last thing's shocking, like there's shock humour, like a reveal, or using a word with two different meanings, like I'll give you an example. So like guy gets pulled over by the police and the policeman said, can I see your driving licence? And the policeman says, it says on here that you should be wearing glasses, and he says, I got contacts, and the policeman's like, I don't care who you know, you're breaking the law.
It's a pattern break.
Stupid stuff like that, where one word has two meanings, like contacts could mean contacts, or loads. So you go and find words that have two meanings, like grass, you are grass, or grass. Create jokes around that stuff. Or
so it's like a pattern break. So your brain naturally goes to take what's expected, and you just break the pattern. The opposite.
Yeah. So and shock humour and all that stuff. And started writing sets and then done that, and then it didn't work out well. It worked out for me comedy wise on the cruise ships. I become one of the youngest people to fly on and off like Royal Caribbean and that. So by the time I was about 24, I was making good money flying around, but I wanted to be at home getting on the piss with my mates. Do you know what I mean? As well, I was missing that. So I come back and give up for a bit and done estate agency. I built up a small estate agency over a few years. Up in Clapham, had a few employees, and then I discovered Vine and Twitter and stuff. It was just when Twitter had started and Vine, and I took that same concept of creating jokes for the stage and turned it into video format. So having the same principles of, the beginning, the middle, the end, the reveals, or the words or whatever. Created a bit more of a character around it, and got my first taste of like viral. Having a video like with 3,000-4,000 views, you're like, I'm famous.
That's quality.
And then just fucking blew up from there.
So what was your first stuff like your early stuff? Was it straight into the hardcore stuff, or did you
naughty?
Straight went into the naughty stuff.
I'd just come back from spending like 4 years entertaining old people, you know, and families.
So that frustration is...
because, you know, I'd go down the crew bar and have a couple of beers, and I was much funnier than I was on stage down there with all my mates. And I was like, you know, I've got to start talking about what was going on around me, which was women, drinking and all that stuff. And I found that stuff fucking hilarious, yeah. So
especially to the age group, because that's what your pals are all, that's what the age group's into, that, you know, the early Twitter scene and the early social media. So, you know, I'm into like big visualizations. I'm an unconscious mind therapist, and you know, I've met you before many a times, and we've done a bit of work together and that. And so people at home, I want you to understand that everything gets made twice. Yeah, everything gets created first in the mind as a thought, as an image. Then it gets created outside here in your reality. So wherever you're sitting at home, if you look around your front room or your kitchen or in your car, if you try looking for something that never started as a thought, and there's one exception, except for what comes from nature and the earth in its original form, like trees, plants, cats, dogs, wind, rain, sand, snow, human beings, oxygen, that sort of stuff. Except for what comes from nature and the earth in its original form, you're going to soon be aware that there's nothing. Everything that you live in a thought. There's not a wallpaper tree. There's not a window tree. So, you know, if you can imagine the inside and outside of every building in London, yeah, if you can find anything that never started as a thought, there's nothing there, you know, except for what comes from nature and the earth in its original form. So I'm interested in looking at your visualization process, Dan, and you know, how you create these inside your mind. Because we've had chats about the mind, you know, quite a lot over the years. And I know that you told me before about sometimes ideas come into you in bed, you're sort of be lying there and this thing will pop in your head, and you said you worked it all out to me. Can you just explain a little bit about how that process goes? How you see it in your mind.
It's a weird thing because, like, when we first discussed this visualization form, the stuff that you said to me, you know, I like, and you said other people have done this before as well. I realised that is subconsciously what I've been doing since I was a kid. You know, like when I first thought about what I wanted to do, maybe when I was 5 or 6 or 7. My mum said when I was about 6 or 7, I said to my mum I wanted to be on TV. That's what I want to do and stuff. And I can remember going to school and going to maths and going to English, and, you know, I was dyslexic. I was quite I'm like naughty, you know, looking for attention and stuff. And I always thought to myself, I don't really care, and this is no advice to anyone out there, I don't really care how well I do in my GCSEs, because I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to be a comedian. I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to make films. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm going to do. So I don't care. And
yeah, it didn't matter. You see it.
I could see it. I could visualize that's what I wanted to do. And the crazy thing is when I first hit like 1 million followers on Facebook, I think the only other page on there at the time, it was so early, even in the days of Facebook, the only other pages on there that had like 1 million followers was like the fucking Facebook page that had 1 million, more than 1 million, and like fucking Disney or whatever. So there was no people out there. There was no artists or comedians that had 1 million followers. And I can remember in the industry, there was a lot of talk about it. There was a lot of TV channels and that were talking to my agent, because I got an agent at that point. And I'd already said to my agent, I'd already said, like, it's going to be ITV2, and it's got to be a TV show about, you know, pulling. I mean, in the long term, it didn't work out, but I can remember my agent saying to me, you're too naughty for ITV2, you won't get ITV2. And I'm like, but that was the channel at the time that was, you know, TV was, you know, you watched the channels. It's not like now, but you watch the channels, and ITV2 felt like the new sort of trendy, you know, it had just blown up. The Only Way is Essex, and those guys were like the new pop stars, and they were all making a lot of money. And then we got the phone call from ITV2. Do you know what I mean? And like a couple of days later, and he was like, "You won't believe it. This is amazing. You know, this is what it is." And so that happened. I was always worried about it all messing up and fucking up.
It got made twice.
And it fucking happened. Do you know what I mean? So again,
this is why I say to people: be careful what you think. If you truly understand, it's the oldest proverb of all time: what you think about, you become. It's in every, you know, deep sea scrolls. It's in every religious book. It's in the Egyptian pyramids. It's something along those lines. You're going to find what you think about, you become. So when you truly understand that, you do start getting wiser to what you allow in your mind. Like, but before we go into that, I want to ask you. Give us you write your skits, you write your posts and your Instagram videos. Give us an idea how you sit and you visualize it. 'Cause I remember before you said throughout lockdown that you done one when there was two geezers over a fence.
Yeah,
You said you don't even start it. You visualise the.
No, yeah. So comedy comes to me like a nagging feeling. It's like some days I'll take like 4 or 5 days off posting videos or doing anything just because that nagging isn't there. Do you know what I mean? And it's all about how I treat myself as well. Like if I keep healthy and stuff like that. But once the nagging comes in about a certain thing, so I guess my subconscious mind will see something on the internet when I'm scrolling through Facebook, you know. And at the time, it was all about lockdown, and I saw people moaning about their missuses, you know, how their wives and their missuses were treating them on lockdown, and it was quite funny. And normally where the great sketches would come to me is when I go to bed, that my mind would start nagging me on, like picking up on all the things that I'd seen on the internet that day. And I'd always wake up at a weird time. Normally it's about 3:15. It'd be somewhere in between 3 and 3:15. I don't know why that is,
yes.
But it's like my mind, it's like that's when my mind's like had enough of it and it's like, wake up, man, you've got to write this down. And so I'd always wake up and I'd be like, I'd just lie there and I'd be like, well, how can I interpret what I'm finding funny into a sketch? And what it was then was I was like thinking about myself and what other men had said, and you know, everyone started drinking beer by about 12 o'clock. Do you know what I mean? On lockdown, the fucking missus had everyone trying to do Joe Weeks and do the Joe Weeks workout, and I just really love, like, so I start making myself laugh by visualizing this conversation. How can the conversation happen? So then I create the two characters in my head, and then I'll picture it in my mind what they're both saying and the argument or what they're saying to each other. And I wanted them both to be terrified of their partners and terrified of. You should try and get the clip and play it after this. If you can play it in, it would just help you see how I visualize it. But you know, and then being terrified, you know, and the guy's like, all right, how you doing? The other guy's, I'm all right, man. And he's like, you got any beer? And he's like, no, we've only got Prosecco left. We're not allowed to get any more. And I'll see you at the pub. The what? And he's like, the pub. He's like, what's that? You know, like they've forgotten. And then I'll wait. And then when I go back to sleep, so I'll do the work in my head for like 10, 15 minutes. And I'll let it sink in. And then I'll drift off back to sleep. But then when I wake up, I'm on a mission. So I'll wake up and I'll say, and my missus will know, I'll be like, I just got to film something.
This happens a lot. If you listen to a lot of millionaires, billionaires, successful, creative people, there's a guy called Wayne Dyer in America. He's passed away now, but he always talks about whenever you wake up, if your time's at 3:10. See, I wake up at 4 o'clock quite a lot of the time, and then what he says, if you get into habit every time you wake up middle of the night and you see your clock and it's that same sort of time and you go back to sleep, he goes, don't throw your legs out of bed, sit up and just make yourself get up. And he says, go into your kitchen, go into your front room and just write
exactly
your ideas down. And he says it's because if you think about it, everyone's asleep. The energy, your mind.
Did he really say that?
He did, yeah. He said your mind's able to tap into the universe. You're able to tap into some information because you can be more creative because the electricity is all off. There's no cars in the street. The birds are asleep. There's no energy. There's no one taking the energy, pulling the energy away from you. So you can sit there. And he believes it's the most creative times when people are asleep to get up. If you look at some of the great boxers, Mayweather, he gets about 4 a.m. and goes running. That's when he's doing his visualizations and stuff. It's a really amazing thing that like a lot of billionaires, millionaires, they wake up at 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and they get up and they'll be writing down. They'll be starting work at 4 o'clock in the morning because that's when they really find creativity. And when you listen to people like stories on Nikola Tesla, invented radio waves. We wouldn't have phones, TVs, we wouldn't have nothing without. We wouldn't be able to record this if it weren't for Tesla. And Tesla used to sit there, close his eyes. And like for the radio, for instance, he'd sit there and he'd close his eyes and he'd visualise all the components he had to put together. And he'd had to have near on the finished product before he'd even get a spanner out, start work. He'd visualise the whole process. He could do it, and he'd sit and do it in his mind before he even actually started picking up, the metal. So it shows you that, that time in the morning is the time to tap into that creation. And, and your mind works best. It's just.
I find as well that some people are either, I think, like I can't, come 7, 8 o'clock at night, unless I'm out on the piss or unless I'm at an event or unless I'm doing, unless I'm out doing something, come 7, 8 o'clock. Once I put my kids down to bed, mate, I'm in bed. I can't, if I sit up and try and watch some stuff, I can try and get into a film, try and watch something, but I'm in bed because I am up about 6:30, 5:30 anyway, 5:30, 6:30. I'll wake up and I'll pretend to be asleep for a bit, trying to get to sleep.
What people don't see with you when I first ever met you, the first ever time, is that the professionalism around you. People just see you fucking about all the time,
Yeah.
fucking about on the videos, you're funny guy. But actually, when you turn that camera off, mate, you take care of business. Like, you're a proper businessman, and I don't think people understand that side, that concept. Like, you are a grafter, you're up, you're creating businesses, your clubs, your movies. Like, you do take care of business. And then when you have to go, you go in the pub, you fuck about again. You're mucking about, you're taking a piss.
I think that
you do.
Yeah, I think that I've always been like a blagger. Like I was a massive blagger when I was younger. You know, I used to ring the cinema up and pretend that I was someone's dad that had gone there, and there were kids that were fucking about, and then I'd get like 20 cinema tickets for like me and all my mates, or I blagged like 3 top up cards. I used to be naughty like that, and I used to look at people that were successful in business and blah 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 like that, and I used to think to myself, how can I get one over on them? You know, how can I get one over on, like the telephone companies, when I used to have to go and get £5, £10 top ups when I didn't have no money. I used to think, yeah, but I'll ring up the people and I'll see what I can blag. And then when I got a little bit older, I had a passion for comedy, but I always had a passion for business in respects to, I used to really look at people that had that had revenue streams where they don't have to work. So they create the revenue streams, self-perpetuating.
Passive income sort of.
Self-perpetuating income. So, get other people to make their money for them. And I always say that one of the best things that ever happened to me was losing my TV show and getting thrown off TV. 60,000 people signed a petition, I got thrown off TV. And yesterday I was on TikTok and someone had wrote a message on there, oh, fucking hell, you still about? Your career died fucking years ago. And I'm just like, mate, I'm glad that happened to me then, because what happened to me then is I was like, it made me realise straight away, like, everything that you work towards can be taken away from you, just like that. Yeah. Everything can, right? So I instantly thought to myself...
So it brought your ego into shape. It was like...
100%. Slapped me into shape. It was like, if you want to support your family, if you really want to be a genuine success, if you really want to be something special, because I always wanted to be something fucking special, right? I know that sounds egotistical, but it was just... and I think everyone does. And I think...
Of course. Why wouldn't you be mediocre?
And I think... So what I thought a long time ago was... Especially when I lost everything, I lost all my money, lost my house, lost my management, lost my brand deals, lost my fucking... I ended up in Manchester, living in my mum's, my fucking Mrs. Mum's spare room. Do you know what I mean? And I was just earning fucking 15 grand a week doing nightclub PAs, turning up and getting pictures. The next thing I was in their spare room, fucking broke, and it was mad. But it made me realise that I need to throw loads of shit at the wall in order for some of it to stick. So I started really taking business seriously, and every time in the morning when I'd wake up, I'd sit and I'd think, what industries do I want to be involved in? What do I want to do? I want to make films. I want to own a nightclub. I want to have products that I sell online. I want to own percentages of businesses that I don't have to do any work in. So I stopped and I thought, what's first? I need to make money. So how can I make money? So I created small businesses with my followings to sell products. I worked hard on that, and then with that money, when it started becoming good, I invested it in businesses and stuff. But I was still up every morning planning out my day. Yeah. But I'd already thought to myself, so before, like right now, I'm sitting, in 2014, I didn't have anything at all. 2014, I lost everything. And I looked forward, I visualised, I thought to myself, fuck this, man, head down, arse up, let's crack on. What are the steps? And I thought, if I can get enough money doing this, I can do that, And I want to be able to make films. I want to raise money for that. I'd like to have a nightclub. I'd like to own a villa over in Spain so I can take the kids over there, and I want to build my own house. And I know where I want to build my house. I want to build my house near the council estate that I grew up in the posh. But this is why there's a council estate around the corner from me that I grew up in, and this was the posh area where everyone lived. I dreamed of this private road. These houses.
So all them things are true now, aren't they?
And in the space of what we're in now, from 2014, what is it, 6, 7 years? I don't know, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 6 years.
It proves it all, doesn't it? Visualising it, materialising it.
Yeah, I mean,
everything gets made twice.
Yeah.
So, who's your inspiration, would you say, for like the business? How did you, or would it be yourself just through your experience, or have you met people that you inspire you to?
Do you know what the weird thing is? I didn't meet anyone, and this is probably going to sound quite egotistical as well. I never met anyone that was more passionate and more driven and more like I'm refusing to be, you know, I try so many different things. I'm refusing to let life slip aside. Do you know what I mean? I never met anyone more passionate and more driven than me until I made money. Until you start making a lot of money, then you start mixing in different circles.
Yeah, and you start mixing with people.
And then I realised, like, I've spent time. I mean, I say money. I mean, like, in comparison to what real money is, it's nothing. But I've met people recently, you know, that are in. They see what I'm doing. They see, like, the business that I'm doing. You know, with the nightclubs.
So is it more not the size of money, more the vision of the people you mix with, like the bigger people with bigger mindsets? Like yourself.
I think when you start thinking outside of the box, like, for instance, I'm only just opening this new nightclub in Clapham, but I'm already thinking, how can, you know, we just go through the refurbishment, but I'm thinking, how can I get that brand in Ibiza? How can I get that brand in? How can I get that brand there? Blah blah. And then when you start speaking to people about what you want to do, they talk to you about people that have already done it, and then the next thing you know, you're stood next to a guy that's worth 200 million, and he's like, you know, they see your grind and see what you're doing, and he finds what, you know, I'm making films and doing this. They find that's exciting, and then they're actually like, how can I be a part of what you're doing? Yeah, and the next thing, the conversation I'm having is next year I think we're putting a couple of clubs in Ibiza, and I'm like, how the fuck has this happened? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like attracts like, they say.
That's it. Yeah.
So when I first met you, like I say, you was doing this stuff before. When I first met you, when you was having your fight with Harvey, we only had a week to go, so I didn't have long to get to work with you, which was a shame. But on that first session, we sort of went through how everything
I was in a really bad place then. And
we sort of went through how everything gets made twice, and we you was having these bad thoughts, and you know, you was thinking. A lot of people do this at home. So anyone listening, you know, most people, I'd say 90% of people think about what they don't want to happen when they're trying to be successful. They try to think about what they don't want to go wrong. And they put their focus on that 80% of the time, and then wonder why it all goes fucking wrong. So, you know, from looking at your business mind, you know, you was focusing on everything that you want, you've been creating all your life, and then you said in that time you was getting anxiety because you was focusing on what you didn't want more instead of what the outcome you wanted.
Yeah, I think that I started really. I mean, I had bad depression anyway. I think through I was self-medicating definitely when things didn't go my way, and I've always been quite heavy into drinking and you know the drugs when you're partying, you know, session and stuff like that, and I started realising how much of a negative impact it was having when I wasn't drinking. You know, the anxiety left over, you know, the next week, or the negative thoughts, or, you know, once you go up, you come down, you got to pull yourself up. And although I was motivated for business and comedy, everything else in my life was, you know, like being a good father or being a good boyfriend, or just basic things like putting the dishes away and taking the bins out and everything like that. I realised that part of my life I was neglecting because my ego was so caught up in building a big house and buying a villa over in Spain and everything like that, that suddenly when I wasn't doing that stuff, my anxiety was through the roof. Yeah. So if I had small periods of time when nothing was going on, you know, that's why the beginning of lockdown was hard for me, and that's why when I took time off to do I didn't feel like I was challenging myself enough. You know, once we'd built this house, it was just after we'd built this house, which I never thought we'd do. And then it was like, what am I going to do next? And then someone said, do you want to do a cage fight? And I was like, I was terrified at the thought of it. And that's why I thought, yeah, man, I'm going to do it. Because I thought I'd never do that. I'd never walk in a cage and fight. But I thought, that's why you've got to do it. So when everything else slowed down and I started focusing on something else, the anxiety and the fear and everything come in, and yeah, it was difficult to deal with. But once I spoke to you, what I realised what I was doing is, the same as I might be visualising all the positive stuff through business, and that was happening and life. Yeah. But when you're training for a fight and you start thinking to yourself, oh, what if this happens? What if I lose? What if I lose? What if I lose? Those were the pictures that were in my mind. Yeah. Of me getting choked out, me getting knocked out. And what I was subconsciously doing, I guess, was visualizing that and turning that into reality. And the anxiety, it was like it wasn't like I was waiting for a fight to see if I was going to win and how well I'd do. It's like I was waiting to lose. And that's
when everything gets made twice thing. And the unconscious doesn't understand what's good for you, what's bad for you. It just understands what you focus on. Yeah. It thinks that's what you want. He ain't got no filter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And you changed that round for me, man. We only had it was a weird one, wasn't it? Because you turned up at the house and my missus was like, "Who's this guy?" And I was like,
"You've been upstairs in the bedroom with him for 3 hours."
Yeah. He's just coming to talk to me about my mind. And then we went upstairs and locked the door in the bedroom and said, "Don't come up." And he sat up there for 3 hours. I come down and I was like, "Oh, I feel great." And she was like, "What happened?" Do you know what I mean? But we done a documentary on it, didn't we? And we filmed this documentary, and literally from the moment that I spoke to Robert, and he taught me, and this is something that I've used not just in that, like when I have beef with people, or people annoying me, and I'm going to bite, and I'm going to respond. I've used it in that as well recently, actually last night. But with the fight, every time I visualised losing, I quickly stopped. I noticed what I was doing, and I visualised winning. Yeah. So then I was like, oh no. Like, I'd do some training, something would happen, I'd get a bit hurt, or I'd get a black eye, or I'd get, take some heavy shots and that, and then I'd come out of it and I'd be like, fuck, that was bad. Imagine how bad it's going to be with Harvey and the thing. And then I'd realise what I was doing. So then I'd stop for a second, close my eyes, and I'd visualise the crowd. I'd visualise winning, cheering, afterwards having beers and everything like that. And all of a sudden, this like nice wave of feeling would come over me.
That's such a good point, Dan, because what a lot of people don't understand, one of my biggest breakthroughs learning about the mind is that the human mind can only think how you feel. There's never been a human being in 2 million years, while experiencing the emotion of sadness, could make a happy thought. If a human being feels sad, they're going to make sad thoughts. If you feel anxious, your brain's going to check in with the body. And if you're feeling anxious right now, you're probably going to lose this. Something bad's going to happen to you. You might break your nose. How's it going to look in front of you? You know what I mean? Yeah. And you start making correspondent thoughts. So it's all about the visualizations. I say to people, that's just your key to the emotion you want to practice. It's the emotional intelligence that is the key, not the vision. The vision is just the way of opening your mind up to create the emotion. But the emotion is what you really want to put your focus on, like feeling like you're a world champion, feeling like you're the world's funniest comedian, feeling like you're a millionaire. Because no world champions become world champion without first seeing yourself as a world champion. I talk about Muhammad Ali. If you look at him at the age of 18, he wins the Olympics in Rome, and he's going, I'm the greatest. I'm the next heavyweight champion in the world. I'm going to be the greatest boxer this world's ever seen. Now, he's only 18. He ain't even a fucking professional boxer at this point. He's an amateur. He's in the Olympics. But when I studied Ali, and you go back to when he was like 12 years old, he said, there weren't no much tellies for me. He said, my TV was in my head. And when I'd be out running, I'd be visualising myself holding up the WBC, buying my mum and dad a house, knocking people out. When I'd be in the gym skipping, when I get into my zone, I start visualising, holding up WBC, knocking people. And he'd done that since he was 12 years old. So every time you close your eyes and you visualise, your unconscious doesn't know what's real and what isn't real, what's true and what isn't true. So when you close your eyes and you think of your vision in the future, you start to experience 40% of those emotions in the moment. And it's the same of thinking of what's bad's going to happen. You close your eyes and you think something bad's going to happen with anxiety, whatever you want to look at it. You close your eyes and you see the worst case scenario, which 90% of the time people do. They start to experience the emotion of that worst case scenario. So don't even bother fucking trying. So it's the emotional intelligence has to match what you think. You can't just think something. So your thoughts are the language to the brain, your emotions are the language to the body. Yeah. We need them both to be in sync with each other. You need to feel what you're saying. And this is why visualizations is so important, because as you said, the minute you closed your eyes and you started visualizing, your whole emotional state changed. Yeah. And if we'd have got a couple of months of that in before, you'd have felt even more powerful.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I was talking to my missus before we'd done this interview, and I know that your perspective on things, the reason why you wanted to talk to me is because you're one of very few people that, that have come to my house. And I've talked to you about about my finances, my business and stuff like that. And I know that your angle on this is, he's come from nothing, he visualised it, and now, he's achieved. But for me, I was saying to my missus, I find it very awkward talking about what we've got and everything now, because I'm very conscious of, we were talking about this before, I'm very conscious of being condescending to people that are going through shit. I don't want to be flashy. But on the other hand, my missus was saying to me, but there is something in being proud and also showing people
that you can
achieve. Yeah. So
I mean, the problem is it's their emotion on you. You shouldn't be holding that, because that'll only limitate you from getting more. And I believe every human being, there's no such thing as contentment. All this bullshit, we're going, do you want to be happy? Do you want to be content? It's the fucking worst place to be. Most millionaires are depressed when they get there, because the minute you get content, you're not moving towards something. Yeah. Happiness comes when you're moving towards goals. When you meet a new girl, you're taking her for dinner, you're happy to put your clothes on your aftershave. When you're moving towards things, that's what happiness is. You can't just sit here and be happy. Imagine me sitting here just being happy for no reason, Dan. I'm sitting here going, or like cakes, or like chocolate cakes, or like, you think it's fucking up his head section,
Yeah.
wouldn't you? Like, you can't just be happy for no reason. You need happiness is the effect of your action. So when people get content in their state of mind with what they have and where they are, that's when depression kicks in.
Oh, mate,
depression is not seeing a future. So no matter how much money you got, you could be the happiest man. I mean, be more comfortable, but you're not going to be.
I think that I definitely think that, but you know, and it, you know, when people say millionaire and stuff like that, you know, I don't
understand what they're thinking.
Yeah, I don't think that when I was younger, or especially after I went through what I went through before, that I thought to myself, like, I want to be a millionaire. That wasn't my thinking.
No.
My thinking was, I mean, it's nice, don't get me wrong, and you know, I've been able to provide like a life now and everything, but I don't think that I thought that. What I thought to myself is, I just want to fucking do everything. I want to do everything that I want to do. So I think what happens is once you do, like, money definitely comes as
what you do.
What you do. Money comes with, if you're passionate about business and you've got a non-stop attitude, like if as soon as one thing for me, like, I've got a new business, Lucky Click, that's kicking off, which is like a gambling, you know, we can win watches and that. Once this business is up and set up and it's running, that for me that's the fun's gone.
Is it? Yeah, you need to keep moving forward.
So then the next thing is, I'm like, what's next? But like
raising your standards.
And also like
raise your standards.
Like, for instance, when you come out of a big fuck up and you visualize something, like for instance my Troxy show. When I visualised it, I was like, right, no one would give me small venues, no promoters would work with me. I couldn't get like a 400-500 seater, but the big ones that were like, you know, that was 2,500 people. I hadn't done a show since my dad died in 2 years. Yeah. So 2 years I've been off the stage, and it was 2,500 people, and it's like they will book me because they'll take the 13 grand up front. Yeah. They'll go, just, we don't give a fuck if the press go mad. Well, they're that big a venue, just give us the 13 grand. You know, if you sell enough tickets to cover your money, fair enough. And I can remember sitting thinking to myself, my agent saying to me, my manager going, normally what the manager does is the manager will get into business with you and they'll take a percentage of the profit. And the manager was like, no, we're not in on this one. You know, we don't believe in it. Don't believe in it. And I actually dropped that management team because of it.
They can't see your potential.
Yeah, and I was like, and I was just like, look, listen, unless I do this, unless I find out whether the people are still there and they still want to see the show, unless I take the punt, and I was trying to talk myself into it. And while I was trying to talk myself into it, I can remember I was in this office, right? I just closed my eyes and I was like, I visualised myself in the venue because I've been there. I standing on the stage and all the people there, and it felt so good that I was just like, it's gonna work, man. It's gonna work. So
you felt it once you
I felt it, mate. Yeah, felt it. And I also visualised what the poster would look like. The poster's up there. I think there's one over there sat on the chair, and I just wanted this attitude where I was like, "What am I doing?" Do you know what I mean? Because it was good a stupid thing to do. Yeah, good vibes only. I just got my head round negative thinking as well. So I'd done a song called Good Vibes Only. Good Vibes Only. I'd done my tour was Good Vibes Only. My podcast, my original podcast that I started was Good Vibes Only because I realised that every time that I was thinking about negative stuff, it would fucking happen. Yeah. And if negative people were around me and they were slagging other people off, it would bring me down. I'd start saying stuff about them people. Yeah. You know, when someone goes, "Oh, so-and-so's a twat," you do it, and I'm like,
pulled into that negative energy.
So. And then I visualised it, and then the next thing was I was standing on the next thing. What it felt like was I was standing on stage, and there was 2,500 people clapping, and I was bowing, and I was like,
"Was it the Troxy?" I think
it was the Troxy. Yeah. We sold it out in 8 hours.
Crazy.
Yeah, and they were like, "It's going to take you months to sell if you can sell it." So after that happened, I just thought to myself, "Right, what do I want next? This business."
Straight on that.
Yeah. What do I want next? Think about it, visualise it. And then the next, it feels like, you know, once you commit to doing something as well, you get the work done, didn't you?
100%. It doesn't matter. Once you visualise it, I'll call it the vacuum. I said, if you can't see where you're going and you're trying to push yourself to be successful, I just want to make money, you get a pushing feeling. If you want to go to the gym to lose weight, you got to push yourself out the fucking door to get to the gym. If you're visualising the body you want, or you're visualising this goal or one of your new businesses, you get this like with MindKite at the moment. You know, a new business I'm involved in is that the whole point of this app is all through MindKite, but it's, you know, the vision of what we're seeing this thing grow into. It's like a social media platform that's sort of, imagine like Facebook and Calm's having a love child. It's sort of like that, you know, but it's going to be even deeper than that. It's going to have, you know, it's going to be like a Facebook platform where you get your own profile, you log in and you can talk to each other on there, but it's all for mental health. It'll be very highly monitored.
Yeah.
Anyone, disrespecting it will be out.
Yeah, you
And
sort of showed
we're
me
gonna-
before. It's
yeah.
like if someone wants to put up what they're going through, people can talk to them about it.
Yes.
And also, if someone
support them as well.
feels good, if someone's like, today I've had a good day, I went out and done this and it made me feel good, they can put that to help people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone go, oh, well done and all that. Yeah, and if someone's feeling down, everyone can. So come on, we've been there before, and it's sort of like a little community on there. But also you've got another side to it where you can click and there'd be like, so like you said, like Joe Wicks, there'd be like videos on fitness, there'd be yoga, meditation.
Lovely.
I'll be doing mind therapy, hypnosis on the hypnotherapy sessions.
Well, I'd love to get behind it for you, man.
for addiction and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll get behind that. I'll get the word out
thank
there.
you. We really appreciate that.
Half price. No, I'm joking. No, I'll get it, I'll get it out there. Definitely, man.
But one more thing I wanted to ask you about is about, don't mind me asking about, my dad died 10 years ago next year, and it's really playing on my mind because it's the big 10 years. I mean, you said you had a bit of time out, and it gets to
I before I really started getting motivated again, I almost committed suicide, mate. I had suicidal thoughts, unfortunately, after I lost my TV show and everything, and then I lost my money. And I think a lot of people out there that are going through money struggles, as a man, I think it's so demoralising that you can't provide, you know, and everyone else around you's got money, and you might have a missus, and instantly, you just feel like a worthless piece of shit when you haven't got money or you're in debt. When people get to go to commit suicide, it's normally because every direction they look at, the past, the present, the future, to the left, to the right, there's pain. Yeah.
And when that's when people want to escape, what I mean? When there's no future, you can't see any future at all. No matter where you look, you're gonna get a slap in the face.
Yeah, I felt
is
like.
That how you felt then? Like you was just...
Well, yeah, I was already there, mate. I was already there. I'd had everything taken away from me. I didn't see any way of getting out of the situation. The pressure on me, there was a lot of pressure, and I'd lost all my money. But at that point, what I thought was my lowest, my dad died. And when he died, I just felt, and I feel like maybe a lot of people feel like this. I just felt, fuck you, life, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to throw this shit at me, and I'll show you how I'm going to behave. Then because I've been trying to behave good. So then it's drugs, it's fucking drinking, and then all the other stuff, getting rid of me missus and all that bollocks. But
and the world felt smaller to me. Like it felt like it shrunk. Like it.
Yeah, it felt like it was only me that was really upset about it as well. But I think that it's really hard to say this to anyone when they're in that position, but I actually, sometimes, luckily, I rang the Samaritans the night that I had my episode. I rang the Samaritans and I spoke to someone, just because I was like, there's no way I can speak to my missus or my ex-missus at the time about this. There's no way I can talk to my mates.
At least you spoke to someone. Because a lot of men don't speak at all, as we was talking about earlier. So.
But I think that ultimately it was like, fuck. It can't get any worse than this, so it can only get better, surely. Yeah. And I think that if like my Tyson Fury says, it's like there's always a fucking brighter day, and if you can grasp on that, and you can start treating yourself better,
it's coming.
Yeah, if you can treat yourself better, and you can visualize that better day, if you can stop doing drugs. If your relationship with drugs, this is a big one that I always put out there, because I talk a lot about session and I do a lot of jokes about it. And, I understand that as a culture for British people, especially lads, cocaine is definitely a huge part of everyone's social life out there. And I'm lucky enough that I'm not attached to any big, TV channels, or I've got any massive brand deals that I can talk quite openly about it without being worried, because I've got nothing to lose. But I understand everyone's got a relationship. Majority of people, lads, especially lads have got a relationship with drugs. But if your relationship with drugs is not working out, then just reevaluate it for a bit. You don't have to, because sometimes when you turn around to I know we're probably going off here a little bit, but sometimes when you turn around to your mates and go, I ain't doing coke no more, or I'm not boozing no more, they're like, why, have you got a problem? You know what I mean?
You've got a problem.
You're like, no, mate, I ain't got a problem. I just want to sort my fucking head out. So there's nothing wrong with spending a bit of time off the things that are making you feel bad. Start visualising. Like you say, I keep saying visualising now. But when you visualise how you
understand the process, you can't help it, can you?
Nah, I can't now. But I can remember going through all that bad stuff and visualising myself, thinking, how do I want to be? I want to look healthy. I want to be funny. I want to have some money, and I don't want to be hungover or on a come down. So how do I get there? Do you know what I mean?
Fantastic, Dan. And well done. I've about quit a day there.
That was deep, man.
But that was deep. No, I was about to say this, that we just got to see a different side of Dan O'Reilly there, everyone. I mean, I feel proud we got this podcast in today because it shows you the man behind the scenes. Everyone sees Dapper mucking about laughing, but it shows you that underneath it, you know, he's been through a lot. He's come out the other end, and coming from, you know, working class like myself. And I love showing it to people that it don't matter where you come from, that you can create something. Academic intelligence, if you're looking for a business mind, academic intelligence only makes good workers for other people's dreams. If your dream is to be a doctor or something academic, then that's fine. There's not slating it. But I mean, you know, to be successful, you've got to be a creator. You've got to be able to visualize. You've got to be able to see your future, and it doesn't matter what happens to you in your life and what pain you're going to go through. As long as you can see through the other end of the tunnel at some point, you know, you are going to get through it. You are going to get there.
I think just a quick one as well, because a lot of this stuff is about visualizing a future or changing things for yourself. If you're out there and you're like, you work for someone else as like a plumber or electrician or something, and you want to start your own business, right? Or if you just want to start making caps or like selling hats, or if you want a sunbed shop, or whatever you want, yeah.
I mean, made earlier,
there you go. Look,
99.95.
But like, whatever it is in your mind that you're like, fuck, I want to do that. Right? Do you know what the best way to start doing it? Like, this is what I always do with a lot of the stuff. Like when I was going to do my show, or when I'm starting a new business, or when I want to open a club. Is just start telling people you're fucking doing it anyway. And then you have to do it.
Yeah, the energy kicks in.
Yeah, you have to. So if you was to go to people...
Build it and they will come, innit? Build it and they will come.
Yeah, if you go to people like, listen, I'm starting selling my own T-shirts soon, like, you're going to love them. But you ain't even got a website, you ain't even thought about the design or nothing, and people go, yeah, you think... Fucking hell, I better start selling these fucking T-shirts, innit? I better start doing it. But when you say it out loud, it's like you become it.
You have to put it out there. You have to put it out there.
So just start fucking faking it till you make it.
So one of my business partners over there, Jamie Kerr,
good-looking fella.
Good-looking fella, mate.
He looks like a younger
version. It's like
I'm the oldest Dapper Laughs. You're the oldest.
I'm the oldest Dapper Laughs.
He's like me when I was 13. Good-looking fucker. Taller though. Better bone.
But you know, we always talk about, and Dean and Topsy, we're always talking about like Miami. We're seeing this app blowing up worldwide, you know, and that's the plan is to take this app across the globe, you know, to help people, to take away the stigma that, you know, there's a place that people can go that's a safe haven when we talk about mental health. And we've got some other little things in the pipeline that we're working on, but you know, it's so passionate. You talk about speaking out. We speak about it as if it's already happened, and sometimes I have to think, hang on a minute. You know, we just started. I mean, we're buying.
But that's how you do it. That's how you do it.
And this is what I tell people all the time. You know, if it's through my retreat, I'm in California every night. I visualize California. I visualize my TV shows. I visualize everything I'm doing. This podcast. You know, I visualize these things every night and every morning. It only takes 30 seconds on each little thing you want to do. Just take a little bit of time out for yourself. Visualize. Keep them thoughts going in your mind, little visions, and your neural pathways will start to grow. After about 30 days, it starts to go from you making the effort for it to becoming automatic. And like you said, now you're always thinking vision, because once you train your brain to do something, it's going to go towards what you want. So everyone, think about what you do want, not what you don't want. And a big thank you to our guest, Danny O'Reilly, Dapper Laughs. And a proper lemon squeezer, as you say, Dan. So I want to thank you very much, mate, for your time. That was an absolute belter, mate.
Thank you very much. Cheers.